Hello again, YouTube subscribers and friends. We have a real treat for all of you today, particularly if you're a fan of rarely seen Chrysler products, or maybe you just love the opulence of American cars from the mid to late 50s. Or, if you're like me, you just love any kind of cool car, especially if it has a great story. You probably remember our feature car owner Dennis from his earlier feature in episode 68, where we profiled his stunning 1979 Plymouth Volare Premier station wagon. Like most car guys, Dennis has other cars in his garage, and all are worthy of a closer look. Today we're showcasing Dennis's beautifully restored 1957 DeSoto two-door hardtop Sportsman Firesweep. Be sure to like and share this video, and please give it a thumbs up too. We also hope if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, you will, which assures you of never missing any of our videos. It's free and it's easy. If you already subscribed, thank you. With your help, we'll grow this channel to many thousands of subscribers, but we'll always bring you great car stories, wonderful cars, and intriguing histories of these automotive icons. Now, let's go for a ride.
Hello, I'm Dennis Carey, and today we'll be looking at my 1957 DeSoto Firesweep. Is somewhat of a story behind this, in that in 2017 I decided after turning 71 years old that I was going to sell a couple of my cars off. But I always had this passion to get a fin car. You know, people say, well, why would you want a fin car? You got muscle cars. Yeah, you grow up in the 50s and you see these cars and you say, God, I'd love to have one of those one day. Well, I've had other cars, never a fin car. So I said this was the time to look for one. Well, in the 50s, growing up in Detroit, my father was had worked for Chrysler. He was one of the design team who worked on doing the tail lights and the fins and all the exterior lighting on these cars. So he owned a 56 DeSoto at the time, and it wasn't really much of a car. It was a four-door sedan. I wasn't hep on four-door sedans, especially if you start dating and things like that. You don't be driving around a four-door sedan. But it was one of the things that got me started saying, that darn fins do look good. So anyway, as a kid, one of my buddies had a 57 Fury, and every Friday night we go cruising in that thing, and he'd beat the heck out of that car. But we'd sure get a lot of looks with those fins. So anyway, for me to start looking for a fin car, my first choices it was going to be a 57 or 58 something, preferably a Fury. I really wanted a Plymouth Fury. But my second choice was going to be a DeSoto, 57 or 58. Well, if anybody knows about the Furies, they can be very expensive. Ever since that movie Christine came out and so forth, everybody either wants to have a Fury to look like Christine, or those that are the purists will leave it as the original colors, which they wore back then, like an ivory color. And I said, I've got to find one of those. Well, I couldn't find one. I probably searched a good 7-8 months religiously trying to find one. And lo and behold, I stumbled across this DeSoto. And what attracted me to it, I guess, was a color combination. This kind of coral look with white, kind of outstanding. And he had it for sale on eBay. And was one of those things where I go, you know what? That's a pretty nice car. And it wasn't that far away. It was in Texas. So I managed to get a hold of the fellow that owned it, and we talked for a while. And the history on the car is it came out of Iowa, and it had 41,000 miles on it. Well, just under 41,000 when he got it. He was the second owner, and he did 99% or a good 99% of the restoration work on the car. redid the interior, which is not stock, but it's period. The roll and pleat is kind of period for the 50s cars, you know. And so he did that, kept it, very close to the exterior, the color of the car. Redid all the engine compartment and that, tricked out the trunk. The car had air, which really was a plus for me living in Arizona. The only thing it lacked was it needed some wire wheels and wide whites. It had a skinnier white on it with hubcaps, and I go, that's just not right for that car. That car's got to have those Chrysler wires and wide whites. So that's the first thing I did to it. Did other little touch up under the hood in that to make it really look good when you open the hood all the time. We've just been enjoying the car. Now the engine in this car is the only engine they put in a Firesweep, believe it or not, was a 325 cubic inch poly motor, which is the polyspherical head. It was a prelude to the actual Hemi. And in the Firesweep, you could only get two options on that poly motor. You get a 2-barrel or a 4-barrel. That was it. Well, this happens to be a 2-barrel. Now, if you stepped up to the Firefly or the Fire Dome, now you had the Hemi options. So I kind of miss, not being able to have a Hemi motor on it, but the fact that this is so unique in the fact you had no options other than the one motor. And this one is the 325 cubic inch, puts out over 200 horsepower, which is more than enough to get you in trouble. And and they're pretty much bulletproof motors too. You don't really have a lot of problems with these motors. They'll run forever. The car today, I think, has just under 42,000 miles. So everywhere we go, you don't see these DeSotos in it. And if you do, usually they're not completely restored. They're either nice drivers or just a good get-around car. And a lot of them made then, believe it or not, were four-doors. There was a lot less two-door hardtops made than four-door sedans. So this car was built on a Dodge frame, by the way, too. That's kind of interesting. DeSoto, the Firesweep, which this is the cheapest model they made, and they built that on a Dodge frame. Where the next step-ups, the Fireflight, Fire Dome, and Adventure are built on a DeSoto frame. So, and DeSoto stayed in business until 1961 when they eliminated it. So even today, as you can see, if you want a big fin car, you're going to you have to find that Plymouth, or you're going to have to look towards the DeSoto, or maybe the Chryslers too. And the Dodge has them also. The Mopar's made most of all big fin cars except for that Chevy 57, what Chevy's claim to fame was, really for a fin car. But other than that, you're going to have a hard time finding them. There's just not a whole lot of them out there. And I think whoever would really want one of these would never be disappointed. The car runs and drives incredible. It's not one of those where you're going to hot rod it up. You cruise down the street and everybody's looking. I mean, everybody's head's turning every time you pull it out. So we're just going to continue to enjoy this car, take it to the car shows, and maybe park it next to one of my Hemis, and we'll know this one will get more attention than my Hemi car will. So we hope that we'll enjoy this car for many, many years to come.
Thanks, Dennis, for sharing your stunning example of a DeSoto from Virgil Exner's Forward Look Designs. Please leave a comment on what you think about this sweet 57 DeSoto Firesweep Sportsman.